Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Tuyaknife Cebu. This is a pretty new knife from Tuyaknife, brought to you in the United States by Dave and Rebecca Warren, two extremely nice people. I will link to their website down below. I'm not going to try and read it because it's quite a long thing, but they bring everything in from Tuyaknife. Tuyaknife is kind of an up-and-coming manufacturer, and I think they're doing a pretty good job so far. I've liked almost everything I've gotten from them. When I saw this one, I knew immediately I wanted to get it. The first run was pretty short. I missed out on that. Now they've got more in. This is the black micarta version with the blue, as you can see. There's also a green G10 with bronzy, brassy hardware. Not a color combo I would think I'd normally like, but it actually looks really cool on it. And we'll get to some differences. There's another difference, not just in price. This is $85. The other one is $80, so you're paying $5 more for the micarta. But also, there's another difference we'll get to in a moment between the two. Really cool D2 blade, which again, we'll talk about more. Being a titanium backspacer, milled titanium clip, pretty darn good value for the money, honestly. Multi-row ceramic bearings, and I gotta say, an overall look that is pretty awesome. I do really like the look of this. I'm a Wharncliffe fan anyway, but I like the way they did the deployment hole and stuff. I just really like it. Designed by a man named Michael Torma. I don't know anything about him other than his name, but whoever he is did a really good job designing this. Very cool. All you have is just the little Tuya logo and a little tiny D2 there. That's it. On the blade, no other logos anywhere else in the knife, which I know a lot of people get really wound up about when there's too many logos. Doesn't bother me that much, but anyway, this one doesn't have them. All right, let's do some stats before we get too much farther. You have a overall length of 8.75 inches. This is a kind of big knife. Blade length of 3.75 inches. Blade stock thickness was 0.16 inches. Handle thickness 0.7, which is where we go to the other one. The G10 version is a little thinner. I'm not quite sure what, but yeah, quite a big thick handle on this particular version. Weight, not too crazy, 5.14 ounces. Definitely could have been lighter. There is some lightening inside here, but yeah, those big thick handles just weigh a lot. So they did a good job milling out the insides, but yeah. All right, let's do some size comparisons before we move on. Don't know why I just flicked it there for no reason. I guess because it flicks well. We'll get to that too. Compared against one of our standards, our Spyderco Paramilitary 2. You can see it's a little bit bigger than a PM2. Not even going to bother bringing out the Para 3 because obviously it's a lot bigger than that. I'm going to bring out our Ontario Rat Model 1. It's pretty similar in size to a Rat Model 1. Which is not a tiny knife by any means. We will bring out, here's something I have here that's up next for review. Bestech Barracuda. Just a smidge bigger than a Barracuda. One of the last of our standards here, our Kershaw Bare Knuckle. And lastly, you know what, just because it was in my pocket today, Cold Steel Code 4. Yeah, it's just a smidge bigger than the Code 4, which is kind of what I expected. Okay, let's move on. What are the things I like about this knife? The first category we always talk about is the blade, and the blade on this knife is excellent. It is a pretty thick blade stock, 0.16, as I said, but it is very thin behind the edge. You're looking at only about, I measured like 16 thousandths behind the edge, which is really thin. Very slicey blade. I like Wharncliffe's. I like the finish on the blade. I like everything about it. And one of my favorite things about it is it's a Wharncliffe that doesn't have a ridiculous, dainty little tip. A lot of Warnies have a very ridiculous, dainty little tip that you're always worried about breaking off. This doesn't. I mean, I don't use it as a pry bar, always disclaimer, but it's got a pretty robust tip on it for a Warnie, and I really like that about it. It's just an excellent blade. Came razor sharp out of the box. Works great. Just a superb blade on this. It's just an excellent blade. Another thing I like about it is the next category, ergonomics. One of the most comfortable knives I've used since I started this channel. It is just yes, the handle is thick, but again, I have long fingers, skinny ones, but long fingers, and man, it's just so comfortable. No hot spots, no matter where I grip it, whether I use this very generous finger choil to choke up on, jimping's in all the right places. It is just a very comfortable knife to use. Is the micarta a bit slippery? Yes, it is. You're locked in there pretty good, but I wouldn't mind there being a bit more texture on it. Again, they make the G10 model, which has a thinner handle and a bit more texture. So if that's something you're worried about, go for that one. But no hot spots whatsoever. And it's just an excellent ergonomic design. It's very good. I'm very happy with it. What else next? Let's talk about how it carries. It does have this thick handle. Again, the G10 one's a little thinner. I don't think it's dramatically thinner. I'm not really sure about that. But even with a thick handle, you know what? It doesn't really carry that bad. It was pretty okay. Definitely not a deep carry pocket clip. It's a milled pocket clip, so you don't expect it to be. They never are. But you know, the flipper tab doesn't stick out a ridiculous amount in the pockets. Again, this is like kind of the edge of the pocket on Yield Wranglers. And it slides in and out easily with that micarta and stuff, and the tension on the clip is just about right. And there's nothing really sharp to catch your hand on as you're trying to get your hand in and out of the pocket. It carries pretty darn good for having such a thick handle. I am interested to see what the G10 one is like. I have not touched one of those, but I am interested to see that. As far as the action, super snappy and just about perfect. The lockup is a little early. I did notice that. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Yeah, lockup's a little early, but I haven't had any problems with it, using it. It's not going anywhere. I don't have a roll of tape to bang it on. Call back. But yeah, it seems fine. That's the only thing I noticed with it, is a little early. That'll wear in a little bit more as time goes on, but the bearings work very well. It's not quite drop shutty, but I'm sure it would be if I tore it apart and lubed it up. I did not. This is going on to somebody else, so I didn't do that. But yeah, the detent is absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong with it. And overall, yeah, the quality feels very good. Tuyaknife is really somebody that I have been keeping an eye on for a while. I like a lot of the stuff they've been doing. I hope they get involved with some more designers that come out with some more cool designs, because they can definitely produce them. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention on the deployment, I keep forgetting, because the flipper works so well, but it will do all the other things you want. Yeah, it'll do everything else you want too, so the deployment hole works very well, but that flipper works so good. That's all I've been using it. I haven't even been using the Spidey flick or the thumb hole or anything. But yeah, overall, yeah, it's a really good knife. $85. I think it's pretty compelling with micarta, which is kind of a higher end material. It's starting to creep its way down, but overall, it's still considered a pretty high end material. Tuyaknife does a very good job with their D2, so I have no worries there. Multi-row ceramic bearings. Yeah, the only thing I have is that the lockup's a little early, but as I said, I couldn't make it fail. I was spine thwacking on stuff. I couldn't make it fail, so. But I know every time I don't mention it, somebody freaks out that I don't mention that the lockup looked early, so I'm mentioning it. Great hardware. Comes in a nice little package and all that stuff. They do a really good job with all that. And super nice people to deal with. So go check out the website. It's going to be a link down below. Again, I'm not going to try and read it to you because it's very long. But the Cebu, very cool knife, especially if you like Wharncliffes. Go check one out. Either this or the G10. G10 is going to be a little grippier, a little thinner. So go check them out. I've been Brian. Have a good one.